Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. It's Paulie, Esther here. As you can see, we got about 2 minutes before the live dev stream is going to start here. And they're going to talk to us about the new chapter, Chains of Hate. They put out a, 45-second trailer today for the chapter. And we'll see what they have to say. We don't have a release date. It's still to be determined. Not sure if they will talk about the release date today or not. I saw something from Peanuts. If you were watching my streams earlier in the week, we had this comment from Peanuts that said that we wouldn't see it this week at all, and not to expect it this week. So we'll see if they can shed any more light onto that. They talked about how they want to try and add an extra week between the PTB and when chapters go live, at least for this chapter, if not with all chapters going forward. So 90 seconds, we should get some info here. And it sounds like there is going to be a release date mentioned in the live stream today, from what I'm being told. So we'll stick around and find out what's going on. I'm sure they're probably going to tell us a little bit about any changes from the PTB to live, what the final version of Deathslinger is going to look like, and maybe shed some light on why we have this extended break between PTB and live. My suspicion is that maybe they like the way the breakable walls went so well that they want to add it to other maps. Perhaps make every Killer Shack have that breakable in the breakable wall in the Killer Shack and make the Killer Shack larger. Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to see. The people at the devs chat are so toxic. All right, well, you hang out here with me. You hang out here with me, Master Chief. It's going to be fine. This is our safe space. Oh, I need to, yeah, unmute this so that we'll be able to hear this when it goes live in 20 seconds. All right. I have sunshine coming through the window on my face. Hopefully it won't hit the camera. John Paul Cardenas, just to be clear, Paulie admitted that I am his best friend and Nil Ramba can suck it. I'm pretty sure that didn't happen, John, but whatever you say. Here we go. Okay, if there's anything super important, I will...
Hello, everybody.
Pause this.
Welcome to another edition of new stuff from DBD. Welcome, one and all, new people and the old folks who are still watching us after all this time.
I'm an old folks.
Today, we're going to take a moment to talk about the new chapter. You may have seen hints here and there. There's a lot of really cool stuff going around it and some crazy things that we tried in this one. So I'll have a few friends here come over and we're going to talk about that new stuff in The Chains of Hate.
Trailer drop. It's your new friend Matthew.
Say yes to the zester of Paulie, Esther.
Thank you, John. Those piercing eyes.
All right, so I've been told I need to introduce a man who needs no introduction, so it's super weird. But here is my good friend, Dave Richard, our creative director and resident beard expert.
Nice. Well done.
Hopefully they can put that at the bottom. All right, so today we're here to talk about chapter 15, which is called...
Chains of Hate.
Yes, that is correct. So let's talk a little bit about what we're bringing to people in this. Let's start with our new friend, Caleb Quinn.
Yeah, the killer, right?
Yeah.
So the Deathslinger is how we call this gentleman. And for this killer, we wanted to go to a new setting. So we're going to the Wild West.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice. So we've been talking about this a little bit internally for a while.
Yeah.
Why this time? Why wait all this time?
Well, actually, we had an idea for the power. You know, that power is something we wanted to do for a long time. Guns is something we wanted to do for a long time in DBD. Actually, he's not the first one with a gun. The Hillbilly is the first one with a gun.
True story.
It's a club, yeah. And so I'm also a huge fan of the Dark Tower and of Cowboy in general.
Are we supposed to talk about this? Because I'm a huge fan too.
I think we can say
so,
it. We've said
yeah.
it before.
But this is not the gunslinger.
No, absolutely not. of
Nothing
course.
to do?
But, like everything in the realm of Western cowboys is very alluring to me. It's really good. So I always wanted to do that. And so yeah, it's a reaction we get internally, right? When we say, hey, we're gonna do horror cowboy.
It's like,
and it's just like,
what?
What?
Like,
Ow.
what's next?
It's
Pirates?
Yeah, ninjas and pirates, yeah. So it's never gonna work, right? But yeah, we made it work. The team did an amazing job with it.
Okay, so a little bit more about Caleb. What kind of guy is he?
So Caleb is of Irish descent, right? So it's a tale of an immigrant that gets walked all over. So his father's an engineer, and he learns how to be an engineer himself. And all his life, he's gonna create all sorts of contraption that would help living in the Wild West, like helping workers. But he, like his father, he always gets walked on. People will steal his invention from him, steal his patent, and then get rich with these inventions, and he loses all. So at some point, he's just gonna snap, and he's gonna use one of his invention to assault his boss. So miraculously, this guy doesn't die, but he will be in prison. So Caleb is going to be in prison for 15 years, just thinking about revenge and how he's gonna get out and get this guy killed.
Not the most healthy of behaviors, but okay.
No, exactly.
It explains what he's doing right now. So talk a little bit about the bounty hunter fantasy, like why we wanted to play in there.
Absolutely. So just to finish the story and why he gets to be a bounty hunter is that he gets a deal with the warden of the prison where he's kept. So use your invention to get me some prisoner in this prison because it's a business and I want to get rich. So he gets out and invent this spear gun, which allows him to get bounties alive to fill the prison.
Alive-ish.
Yeah, live-ish. So some mistakes were made, some people died, but now you can get them alive. So there's something really alluring in the Western team as being a bounty hunter. There's something really powerful in there, and it fits so well into the Dead by Daylight game, right? Because you're not trying to kill them, you're trying to get the bounty and give the bounty to the entity. So it works really, really well.
That's very, very cool. So he's the first one who brings in, well, I mean, the killer's always been first person, but now we have a first person shooter, literally. How the hell did we go around doing that?
So basically the power really feels like you're controlling a soldier in a first-person shooter game where it's really responsive, it's
you
fast,
aim down the sights and everything.
You aim well, you shoot fast, so everything is just like a gun. But the fact that it's a spear and you need to reel in, that fantasy of being able to catch them and bring them back with a piece of machine is really interesting. And
yeah, it's super fun. Next, let's talk a little bit about our survivor, our new survivor for this chapter, Zarina.
Yeah, Zarina. Yeah, you can tell it with an accent if you want. It's fine.
Well, I guess.
Yeah, so Zarina is a young woman that basically had a traumatic event where her father gets murdered, gets in a hate crime. So basically, her father gets pushed in front of a car.
Yeah.
And nothing really happens out of this. There's no news about it. There's no nothing. Everybody,
nobody cares.
No one cares. Nobody cares. And so this inspires her to do film. So she's a filmmaker. To do film about these stories that never get told. So she has a very interesting personality and set of skills. So she goes in and infiltrate companies or groups to be able to get answers and to create movies and to get the truth and get justice out in the world.
It's kind of a super intense story. Like the stories of our survivors are not always traumatic. Some are almost mundane, but this one is really like it's very tragic and it's very harsh.
And again, in these broadcasts, I never do it justice. You need to read the full story to really understand like the depth of what's going on.
Okay, so do that. Go check the CG trailers and go read the story and really dig into that one. It's
and the cool thing with Zarina, so how this story and personality translate is in the perks, right? So Guillaume is going to go in detail again, but like we wanted all of these perks to be documentarists, filmmaker related, and also a little bit like she feels like she's almost like a spy, like infiltrating and getting the news out. So that's what we wanted to do with the perks.
Well, that's good. I do like the wide range of characters that we have in the game. I think that's part of. Hopefully, some people who play the game can see themselves somehow. Hopefully, nobody has had that tragic events in their lives, but some have. It's that like life is like that. All right, next up, let's talk a little bit about the Saloon.
Right.
So the map that we made is.
This has got to be pre-recorded.
I think it's probably
100%.
the. I mean, we've done some strange steps in the map making, but this one is taking you somewhere else.
Yes. Very
cool.
Interesting map, very, very different. And since, so something that the players, the community will see now is that the maps are transitioning to a new look. Like since 2016 when we started, early beginnings, we had to create maps into a very strict amount of components, and now we're kind of breaking that and making it, well, I think better. So you'll see elements in that Saloon map in Glenvale. You'll see that the exit gate is different, the switch to open the exit gate is different.
Even the skyline is
absolutely.
quite drastically different.
The whole border is different, and the fact that you have this very rich, like there's a lot of different interiors in there, a lot of different buildings. Is very different. And also we have the breakable wall now that's in there.
Yeah, that's a huge deal for some people out there because it won some bets, but
to lower expectation, you're not going to be able to destroy whatever you want, and you're not going to be able to destroy buildings.
Which is how we talked about it in that early dev diary, I think, with Ash way back when.
It's not the smasher. It's not what's going to happen.
No.
The idea of the breakable walls is to be able to modulate some of the chase loops that are in there. So it's still very impactful in the gameplay balance of the map. So hopefully it's going to be...
And important to know also, it's only in the new map right now.
Yes.
As a test, because, I mean, it's such... maybe we didn't understand it when we first built the first few maps, but the importance of the layout of the map and the timing of all the elements, level design has become an extreme science here at the Behavior Studio.
We didn't understand in the depth we do today.
That's it.
With all the analytics of the maps.
If we bring in a new gameplay mechanic like the breakable wall, we have to make sure to understand it correctly and apply it well to existing maps, which the plan is to actually implement this in earlier maps.
Yes.
Once we've understood better how it affects gameplay.
And it's going to become a tool to be able to address some of the gameplay balance issues that might exist in some map. So let's go back to the Saloon, actually. So the player was also going to see that it's a very rich map. There's a lot of interactivity around. There's a lot more, like there's some vultures around. There's a lot more like audio of the wild, basically, of things that are around. So it stands out in that aspect as well. And last but not least, the lighting is very different. We have like this. We actually see the sun in that map.
Yeah.
So it's just before, like in the evening. So it creates very strong shadows. So it's definitely a different type of way to play, as you can create very strong silhouettes in the open area with that type of light.
Thank you very much, Dave. Now I'm going to try something extremely dangerous that I've been asked to try. Okay, bear with me.
What?
Okay, hang on. Hold your breath. So, let me introduce my friend here, Guillaume Bourque, one of our resident gameplay designers.
Hello, Matt.
Hi. So, what do you mostly focus on killers, right?
Yeah, new content, but basically 95% of the time is going to be new killers.
Cool.
Yep.
So, let's talk about Caleb's power, specifically.
Is spear gun.
Yeah, the Redeemer.
Yes. So the idea, and I think Dave touched base on it, was that at the beginning we wanted to have the first-person shooter feeling in our game. So basically, you hold the weapon, you hold it like a first person, you go aim down sight really quickly, you shoot, you reload. So basically, when you use the weapon, you feel at ease or at home if you already played.
Most players will feel completely comfortable with that.
Exactly. So that's one thing, and then
mission accomplished.
After that, the player can focus on hunting, finding survivor, and not struggling with the mechanic, basically.
Cool. And so we took the whole aiming down the sights thing, and we took the whole gun, but that's sort of where it stops.
Yes.
And after that, there's no bullet.
Yeah, because there were another rule that we established really quickly. It was that the actual projectile was not making or doing the damage.
Okay.
So you needed to work a little bit more to be able to injure and down survivors.
Because it would have been, well, easy. Nothing is easy in Dead by Daylight to design. But it would have been easy to say, I shoot you, you lose a health level, let's move on.
Bang, you're dead.
But I'm not sure it would have been for a good gameplay.
No, I don't think people would have liked it in Dead by Daylight. Because we're not a shooter game, we're a survival horror game.
And the rhythm of the game is not the same.
Exactly. So basically the gun is there to put a twist on the chase mechanic. Maybe shorten chases, get a hang of a survivor where you wouldn't have normally. Mm-hmm. That's where the range and the speed of the weapon.
A few surprises from afar.
Yes. And then that's where the real mechanic comes in, where suddenly you're in that mode where it gets up close and personal with the survivor with the killer. Yep. The cameras are facing each other, so basically you cannot get away from it, or almost. And then it's for the killer the moment where if you're able to reel the survivor, where it's really really easy to basically just reel the survivor who cannot get away and hit him.
It's interesting also because we created a new moment. Usually you're either in a chase or you've downed them and then you're sort of doing the rest of the stuff. But there's a prep phase that exists for a few killers, like the trapper puts down traps and things like that. But the moment when you've hooked someone and you're reeling them in is a moment you're not in a chase, and it's still possible for them to get away.
Exactly.
But it's pretty done.
Yeah. So if you know you're gonna hit the survivor and your chances are good, it's a feel good moment.
Yep.
Basically, it's hitting someone who cannot get away.
So how do survivors escape once they're hooked?
Yes, this is something we...
They're not hooked. We have what's the term?
Speared.
Speared. Okay.
Yes.
So how do they escape once they're speared?
There's a few ways to escape, basically, or break free from the chain, how we call it. The first one is basically if the killer doesn't reel you and you do nothing, over time the chain's...
So there's a timer.
Yeah, there's a timer. The chain's going to break. So if the killer was to go get a coffee, when he comes back, the survivor is going to be gone.
All right.
That's one thing. The other thing, the survivor can struggle and pull back. So trying to move backwards or sideways, going to pull some tension basically on the chain, and it's going to make it break faster.
Okay.
And the third way is to put an obstacle, the environment, another survivor, in between the killer and the survivor, in between the chain. So if the chain hits a collision, it's going to build the tension even more.
Okay.
So if a survivor is able to do
another survivor.
both at the same time,
It's like around a corner,
yeah,
around
pull,
a tree or
pull
something.
pull back, and then bring the chain, like move behind the tree. They're going to be able to escape.
Before they get in range for an attack.
Exactly. At the same time, the killer can move as well, so you can drag the survivor away from.
So there's a bit of a struggle there.
Oh, yeah.
It's like fishing, really.
Exactly. There's a lot of strategy, both for the killer and the survivor, actually, to be able to land your shot and actually hit the survivor, or escape. Good survivor will get in position where they rarely get.
Does it have anything to do with the fact that a lot of the really, really big open world games out there have a fishing mechanic, and we're trying to bank on that?
I don't know if we can say that. I don't think so.
Okay, just checking. So what happens if a survivor breaks free before he's fully reeled in?
Okay, so if he breaks free, basically we want to reward the killer for landing a hit. So if the survivor is healthy, he lands a hit, but the survivor breaks free, the survivor is going to get injured and it's going to get the deep wound status effect.
So you get injured and you get deep wound.
Exactly. Well, basically applying deep wound also injure the survivor. The thing is with deep wound, it doesn't down injure survivor. So basically what we do is every time you escape, the chain breaks free, the survivor gets deep wound. If he's healthy, he gets injured. If he's injured, he stays injured. So we didn't want... so basically, if he's healthy, you're going to get your reward as a killer. Though if he's injured, you really need to be able to reel him and
need to
hit him
close
with
the
weapon.
deal.
Yeah, exactly. So we thought that was what makes it the most fair for both.
Also, it makes it more rewarding for the killer. You have to struggle a little bit and earn that bounty.
Yes, and that's why it was really important for us to try to nail the balance in between how often the survivor gets away and breaks free, and how often you're able to reel them in. And this is still something with the PTB we're gonna look at. But basically, this is one of the most important things for that mechanic actually to be worthwhile.
Cool. Yeah. So let's quickly go over the perks for the killer. People are always super excited about perks. And an interesting bit, at least for me, and it keeps getting more and more interesting, I feel, is that whenever we bring in a new perk in the game, like we test it with a few combinations that we can think of, but at some point there's no way, and it's getting harder and harder to test all the possible combinations of perks versus all the other combinations possible.
Totally.
So there's some really interesting stuff that's going to pop up out of that.
Yes.
The first one is called, I believe, Gearhead.
Okay, so I'm going to read it out loud so we can understand what it does. So after hitting a survivor 2 times with your basic attack, Gearhead activates for a short duration.
Yep.
Anytime a survivor completes a skill check while repairing a generator, its aura will be revealed for as long as it's being repaired. So basically, it's a detection perk for the killer.
It's a good one.
Pretty good, easy to trigger. It's our kind of entry-level perk for this.
And it's not the survivor that got hit by the attack. It's
No.
You just need to attack twice for the perk to be active.
I hit you twice. Someone's repairing the generator. It's a skill check.
There you
Oh, appears. Yeah.
go. Second one is called Dead Man's Switch.
Yes. So after hooking the obsession, Dead Man's Switch activates. Any survivor that stops repairing a generator before it's fully repaired will cause the entity to block the generator until the Dead Man's Switch deactivates for a short duration. So if you, when the perk's activated, if you stop repairing the generator,
You have to commit.
exactly, the generator will be blocked by the entity.
All right. I always like those perks that disable gens for
Well,
a bit.
anything that slows down the game and the gen repair progress is usually pretty useful.
And any obsession perks is always a good ground for a lot of weird combos.
Yes.
And the last one is a hex perk called X Retribution.
Exactly. So any survivor who cleanses a dull totem will suffer the oblivious status effect for a brief duration. And any X totems that are cleansed, the auras of all survivors will be revealed for a moment as well.
So anybody who likes
So they
playing with
haven't put any of the
hexes
statistics
will have
in
a
for time.
good
Yeah,
time with
exactly.
this.
Just in
Exactly.
case they're going to tweak any
All
of
right,
this stuff, I
that's
guess.
good. Anything else you want to add on the gameplay of the killer?
I mean, we had a good time, and it's fun because we knew we wanted we knew the marks we wanted to hit with the shooting mechanic, and then the actual reeling mechanic was quite challenging technically and visually because there was some first time for Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
For example, being able to move another character because you cannot like push another character in Dead by Daylight.
No.
But suddenly you
You
were
can
able
block
to push
them.
Yeah, you
and
can
you can
block them.
transport
You
them.
cannot push them. So suddenly the killer could drag survivor
Yeah.
around. So when we requested that in our prototype phase, that was a pretty big deal to be able to move other character around in the match. And also for the chain, for example, it was really easy at the beginning to get like a debug chain, just like a solid, like bright color link between the survivor and the killer.
But making it look good.
Yeah, look an actual chain, and suddenly it looked like a chain. And can we have it like do something like a bit like a wave, and when it comes back, it's like snaps like that, and it came out great, you know. But we didn't believe we could get all of this looking that good in the
Well,
short
we have
amount
to
of time.
push a little bit once in a while.
And the team is good. The team is getting quite good.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have to pick our battles, though.
Yes, but I think we picked the right one, and it paid off in spades.
I think the end result speaks for itself.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Zarina and her perk, please.
Yes, so the first one, off the record. And once you're unhooked or escape from the hook, off the record activates. And when the perk is active, your aura will not be shown to the killer, and grunts of pain will be silenced.
This one I'm not too fussy on.
Side note here, if a journalist tells you that something's off the record,
Oh my
do not
God,
believe them.
he-
There's no such
He
thing
said
as
this at
off the
dinner.
record.
They might have even recorded
story.
this before PAX.
All right, the next
He
one is
said
called
that to me
Red
at
Herring.
Okay, after briefly working on a generator, you'll see its aura in yellow. The generator will be highlighted until it's fully repaired, unless you start working on a different generator or enter a locker. What happens here? Entering a locker will trigger a loud noise indicator for the killer at the highlighted generator's location. And there's going to be a lengthy cooldown to
I
the
really
effort.
enjoy
So
that.
in the realm of the pebble
really enjoy that
kind of
perk.
thing.
Yes,
where you
yeah.
can,
Diversion.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm here, but I'm not messing around a bit with the playing in the killer's head.
So that's definitely a perk that's going to be super fun when you're trying to screw with people. I'm like, it's one of those perks that I don't see it becoming a part of the meta of people who want to win every single game, but people who want to screw with people are going to have a blast with that. And I think this perk will be better if fewer people use it, because then you're actually not gonna believe that it's the perk.
It's like
it's gonna be great.
It's like crying wolf.
Exactly. It's exactly like that.
I'm gonna get tricked with people because I'm just like.
But it's like the
God
pebble.
knows.
You're like when everybody was using the pebble because it was the new perk.
Nobody
You're like,
cared.
But now when you get hit with the pebble, you're like, What's that?
Totally.
It's great. Anyway, the last one is called For the People.
Yeah, for the people, if you're at full health, you can instantly heal a survivor from dying to injured or from injured to healthy. In the process, you become injured yourself, you receive the broken status effect, and you become the obsession.
So,
And,
no, I was going to say that's pretty intense. Like, that's a critical perk.
yeah, but some people like to do that, take the hit, be the hero basically.
This is
Yeah,
my
absolutely.
favorite perk from the whole chapter.
And
yeah.
equipping this perk reduces your odds of becoming the obsession at the start of the trial.
So even just for that, would it be worth taking it? So if it doesn't happen, you at least not the obsession, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I think this one has a chance to actually make it into some of the top builds on
Yeah,
there.
we're gonna see that.
Yeah, it's gonna be really good.
I agree.
So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Did you want to share more? It's your time. If you want to say hi to your mom or something, this is your moment.
I mean, this was like really fun to work on that killer. We had a great time from the beginning. Early in the prototyping phase, we had a lot of fun with the mechanics, so we knew we owed on something.
We knew we had something good from the start.
Yeah, exactly. So we could double down on our effort. It got everyone excited about the killer and the mechanic. It was simple, but efficient.
No, but it's true, and we took a lot of chances because some of these were challenges. Some of these were not obvious how to do, but it's like I think everybody, as soon as we tested the early prototypes, we're like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good.
And now we can check it from our list. We have a gun in Dead by Daylight.
Well, as we said with Dave, we already had a gun. The hillbilly has the first gun in Dead by Daylight, but yeah, we have a gun that shoots stuff now.
Exactly. So
yeah.
we're off to the next one, basically.
All right. Well, you've been on the next one for a bit now. That's usually how it works. So can you tell us anything about that?
Oh yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for spending a little time with us. Hope you had a good time. We certainly did. And you can get your hands on the Chapter 15 for Dead by Daylight, The Chains of Hate, March 10.
It is the 10th. All right. Okay, so why did Pupper say that it wasn't the 10th? All right, we'll see. March 10th. Interesting. Okay. So now let's see. What do I want to do here? I'm going to turn... No, this off. Boop. And I should turn my alerts back on. So it is the 10th. Okay. Because somebody sent me this clip today of Pupper saying that it wasn't going to be the 10th. And I was like, now I'm beyond confused. So let me turn my alerts back on. I turned those off while the stream was going so that it wouldn't interrupt all of the discussion. I hope the Incent code drops weren't obtrusive for you. I wanted to reward the people who are here and collect the cryptocurrency. Let them get that. So let's see what we had here. I know some things happened here on the activity feed. All right, we had Igor Wild gifted a sub to Devil's Face and JRM. Did I mess up my alert box? JRM resubscribed. Thank you so much. And John Paul Cardenas subscribed. Thanks to all of you for that. They didn't say anything specific. Nothing specific was mentioned about ranges or times. So I think they recorded that ahead of time. And they don't want to box themselves in by giving out any info in case they're going to change it. So we're going to have to actually wait until the chapter drops to see what, if anything, was changed. When I was at dinner. No, sorry. When I was at the Dead by Daylight party. Okay, son, that's enough. When I was at Dead by Daylight party, I talked to Uberwitz, who is a killer main, and I said, what would be on your bucket list? Man, what the? Esther just jumped right out of the cup here. What would be on your bucket list for the big change that you'd like to see from PTB? And he wanted to see an increased range on the harpoon gun, because right now it's at 18 meters, and Uberwitz felt like it should probably be at least the same as A Nurse is Calling, 24 meters. He thought that would be fair. That was the number one on his list. Request for a change. We'll have to see what actually comes in for changes. Is this just going to break again? So while I was away at PAX, it looks like we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people became members when I was out of town. So thanks to Boomer, November Rain,
Say yes to the Zeska of polyester.
Zavilia,
Say yes to the Zeska of polyester.
Jason Voorhees,
Say yes to the Zeska of polyester.
and finally, the Vixen Empress all became members while I was away in Boston at PAX.
To the Zeska
So thanks for that.
polyester.
24 meters is fair if they don't change the time to struggle out of it. Yeah. All right. So, I wasn't exactly sure what this dev stream was going to involve. It looks like it was pre-recorded, because when we sat down for dinner with Matthew Cote and I told him, I'm not going to pick your brain for anything. I'm not going to try to pry any information out of you. I just want to enjoy your company. And if I break my rule, you can smack me in the face. And he said, oh, I won't smack you in the face. I just won't answer. And, basically said that our dinner was all going to be off the record. And he said, like, word for word what he said in that recorded piece about off the record. If a journalist tells you something's off the record, don't believe them. That was, like, exactly what he said. So either they recorded that video before PAX, or he just went back to the well and used that that phrasing again. So who knows? All right, we got one more Incent code dropping here, and then I'm going to head out. I'm going to go make a video. Nurse's Calling is 28 meters. Okay. But 18 meters is pretty short for that harpoon. For 110 speed, his ability is weak. Yeah, we'll have to see what they come up with, Mark. If they're going to decide to... Like, I saw some people say that you could actually make an argument that he should be in somewhere in between, like a 112.5% speed killer. Like, not quite a 115 and not quite a 110. Maybe he should be split the difference. We'll have to see. When's the next stream? Next stream's going to be tonight. I have, like, a big, long list of videos here that I want to make. And I should probably get at least one of them made today. Because I want to get back on that daily grind of publishing videos for you guys related to Dead by Daylight beyond just the streams. I definitely 100% will be streaming tonight. I didn't stream last night because I had to take my son to the doctor, and my wife is away having a mom's day with her mother. They're going to get pedicures and relax because she had to take care of my son while I was in Boston, and she needs a break. So my son's upstairs waiting for me to finish this stream so I can be a good dad and spend time with him instead of being on the computer. But, I found out, like, with about an hour's notice that they were going to have this stream today. So I told them that I was going to stream, and he said, yeah, I understand. And now I got to go back and hang with him. So I'm sad. I've been subscribed for 6 months, and I miss a lot of the night streams. I'm sorry, Mama Bear. We need to do some more day streams. When the chapter drops, and when, as always, when the new cosmetics drop, I'll be back having those day streams again. So I will be here. But last night I had to go to sleep early so I could get up for his doctor's appointment, and I normally take Thursdays off. So basically, I'm flipping it and I'm swapping Wednesday for Thursday. So instead of me having Thursday night off, I'll stream tonight. And yesterday was my night off, so I could be up for his doctor's appointment. Tell your son we're sorry we stole you from him. He understands. He's a good boy. He's a good kid, you know. Are you ever going to show us your Funko Pops? Dan, I didn't know you were that interested, honestly. I was thinking today, I went and bought a bunch. After we left the doctor's office, we went to Hot Topic because Hot Cash is on, and I had $75 worth of Hot Cash burning a hole in my pocket. So I was able to get $150 worth of merchandise for $75 at Hot Topic. So I loaded up on that. And I was actually thinking that I probably need to get another shelf and build it. This is all John Paul Cardina's fault. It was the fall of 2018. He gave me my first Funko Pop, and here we are, 700 Funko Pops later. Check my DMs. What did Andrew send me? What the heck is this? Is this a barrel of monkeys of John Paul Cardina's? What is this? Andrew, you're just lucky that John doesn't take offense of all your mimicry here, making fun of him. John looked cooler on that motorcycle than I did. Yeah, it's true. 700 Funko Pops later. I'm very happy that I have a Hot Topic in here. Yeah, 700 Funko Pops. It's true. I have about 600 here, and I have about 100 at my mother's house that I have to pick up when I go on vacation. She's like, okay, can you stop ordering Funko Pops to my house? She's like, I need living space. I have a whole room full of Funko Pops. Have you ever played Killer before? Sure I have. How would I get all of my challenges done? We just gotta wait for the DBD Funko Pops. You're telling me, Tiny Kitten Lollipop. How much might that collection be worth? I don't know. I have them on the app to keep track of what I have and stuff. That motorcycle was from PAX. Yeah, that's the Final Fantasy VII Remastered Edition motorcycle. John looked very cool on it. Did you get the new Wally Warhead Funko Pop? I abstained. I might, be talked into it. If I make an order in the future, I'll just throw it in as an extra. But I'm like, I don't really like that one. Any info about Golden Toolbox on the new DLC? Okay, so it was at the party. There was a gentleman by the name of Alex Ditz who came up to me and he asked me at the party, did you find the Golden Toolbox on the new map? And I said, no. I said I wasn't really looking for it because I've often found that when the PTB comes out, the Golden Toolbox isn't in the map yet. So I don't even really look for it until the DLC is fully released, because I've done that before where I look for the Golden Toolbox and it isn't even loaded in yet. So I don't bother. So I said, yeah, they don't put the Golden Toolbox in when it's in PTB. And Matthew Cote was in earshot and he laughed and laughed and laughed, which made me think, okay, yes, the Golden Toolbox is in there somewhere. But I didn't bother to look for it, and I obviously didn't find it. But he thought that was very funny that I said that I thought that the Golden Toolbox wasn't in the PTB. He laughed and laughed at me. I don't know. Maybe he just did the laughter on command to mess with me. It's definitely possible. But, yeah, it could have been messing with me, Lady Hikaru. I don't know. But he got the laughter pretty quickly, so I look forward to trying to find it. I genuinely wish that, you would shoot the vulture out of the sky and the Golden Toolbox would come crashing to the ground. I think that would be hilarious. Any inquiries about the secret on the sanctum? I didn't really ask Matthew a lot of that stuff. I just wanted to get to know him as a person, and he probably gets bored talking about the game all day or having nerds ask him a bunch of questions about the game. So I just wanted to get to know him and just relax and enjoy our time together. And I didn't really try to, you know, it was a very impromptu moment that he even joined us for dinner. And, you know, the last thing he probably wanted to do was be bombarded with a bunch of nerd questions from me. So I just wanted to get to know the man, and like what you see there on all of these dev streams, he is who you think he is. He's just a genuine, really great guy, charismatic. I can't thank him enough for coming out for dinner with us. And yeah, it was a wonderful experience. It was a wonderful experience. Yes, all of my friends were also very nice to not complain about their personal misgivings with the game. Yeah. So it was a really good time. I do have a video planned for like a PAX recap, and I'll talk to you about how all that unfolded in another time. But you know, it's thanks to my friends who made that happen, King and Nil and Sarah and Mark. John was there too, but he didn't know that they had wrangled Matthew Cote into having dinner with us until we got there, which was amazing. All right, I'm heading out. He's just a really great guy. He's funny. Like I said, everything Lady Hikaru that you see in a video, everything that you think about Matthew is who Matthew is. He didn't disappoint. You know, they say, you know, don't meet your heroes, but I think Matthew Cote probably breaks the rule in that one, because all the devs were great to meet. Like, who you think they are is who they are, and just a bunch of really great people, and met a lot of amazing content creators that I look up to. I tried not to be too starstruck through any of this, but I probably failed at that. I believe at one point John Paul Cardenas told Matthew Cote that I was acting, when I found out that Matthew was coming to dinner, that I was acting like a 12-year-old girl who found out she was going to go to her first Taylor Swift concert, which I will not deny, and I'm not ashamed to admit that that's probably accurate. All right, we'll see y'all tonight. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me through that dev stream. Bye.